Before I start this video, if you've not already subscribed to my channel, please click that subscribe button. If you like the video, click the like button, share this out through social media, and leave comments in the comments section. Today I am in Galaxy's Edge to discuss Kathleen Kennedy finally sort of leaving Lucasfilms. So yes, the Wicked Space Witch of the West is finally riding her speeder bike off into the sunset. Sort of. After 14 years of burying one of the greatest IPs ever, and a few other IPs, Indiana Jones and Willow, KK is handing the shovel to Dave Filoni and Lin-Wen Barron because it takes two women to replace KK. Filoni will continue to dig up the corpse of Star Wars, while Brennan will burn as much of the money as she can. Kathleen Kennedy's greatest hits include the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel, which cost between $250 million and $1 billion to build and shut down after a year. The Rise of Skywalker, which to this point is the most expensive bomb in movie history, but I don't think it'll last past this year because Avengers Endgame is coming out. And where I am today, Galaxy's Edge, which one of the stupidest decisions she ever made was doing the sequel trilogy instead of doing the OG trilogy. And to make matters worse, the Bob Iger company hasn't recouped 1 cent that they spent in purchasing this IP. So now we're going to take a walk around Galaxy's Edge and tell you what some of the changes will be. The first stop is the Droid Factory, and one thing I want you to pay attention to as I'm working my way through Galaxy's Edge is all the people that are actually in this area, and particularly to pay attention to what they don't have in their hands. Alright, and we're walking inside the Droid Depot. They used to sell the full-length or full-size R2-D2s here, at least in the beginning. Either they sold out or they weren't selling well enough and they left. And basically less than half the stations are currently being utilized, so it's kind of dead in here. And there's the different style of droids you can get. Okay, and now they have a droid bundle. The price for just the unit is $119.99, and the bundle is $204.97. They didn't have the bundle the last time I was here. Right next to the Droid Depot is Savi's workshop. This is where you build lightsabers. I'm not going to embarrass any of the cast members, but I am going to go ask if they have reservations available today. And it's about 11:30 right now, and the cast member I spoke to said that this is the busiest time. However, if you come a little later in the afternoon, she admitted they are quote-unquote wide open. So things are not selling here. Nobody's buying the experience anymore. All right, we're going to work our way to the Resistance area. And like I said, keep looking at people's hands. It's very important for what I'm going to tell you at the end. pause this until I make it all the way to the resistance area, but you can see something very notable about all the people that are walking through this land. All right, now that I am in the resistance area, this is resistance supply. Not very busy at all. This is the entrance for Rise of the Resistance. One thing to note, when the OG characters start appearing in April of this year, the sequel characters will be confined to this part of Galaxy's Edge. So the only way you'll be able to see Rey or Kylo Ren is in this area. They will not be in any other parts of the land. And of course they have an X-Wing and they have an old speeder from the prequels. I actually think that was a Jedi fighter. Well, I'm not 100% sure. And there are even rumors that eventually they will revamp Rise of the Resistance to be perhaps Rise of the Republic or Rise of the Rebellion, because it's become quite evident that the sequel trilogy is not doing anything. You're not getting any real business here. Rise gets a pretty good amount of business, more because it's a great ride, not because of the theming. Alright, this is the Blackspire Bazaar, and there's a few shops in here. And the first one is the Todorian, actually I think this is Creature Stall. And this is probably an extension of Creature Stall, or the main shop, and the other place is the extension. Looks like a perv got 8. Oops. Alright. And this is actually the Tordarian toy maker. You got your plushies, some other stuff. And right next to that, you got Blackspire Outfitter, where you can buy a number of different types of costumes. Jedi, Sith. I guess that's even like a Han Solo. And this is Jewels of Bith. It's jewelry and some clothing and stuff. And I believe this is the last shop. And this is Katsaka's Kettle. It's mostly about kettle corn, but they currently have a Blackspire waffle with dipping sauce and a black calf slushie, and you can get some other items like drinks. You can see the special Coke and Sprite thermal detonators, but they're out of the Diet Coke one. Next stop is Ronto Roasters. This is probably one of the best finger foods in the park, period. I love these things. It's like a sausage wrapped in a pita. If you get the breakfast version, they throw egg in there. If you get the lunch version, there's turkey and slaw. They're really good. I like the little animation here with them turning the Rontos that are roasting. Probably one of the few places that consistently gets business, because like I said, the food's really good here. The other food location is Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo. Alright, there's some of the menu. Alright, shockingly, it's very busy right now. This is actually the most busy I've seen it in quite a while. I know they have some new menu items. That might have something to do with it. Usually it's a little better, like most of this area, but right now they've got a good crowd in here for lunch.
Ooh, I'm gonna buy one. I'm buying one.
Okay, this is Doc Ando's Den of Antiquities. And let's go inside. Now, supposedly, when they do the switch in April, they're going to have a lot more Easter eggs from the original series. If you look up here, they've got some stuff now, but apparently they're going to be adding more Easter eggs in here, and they're going to be swapping out some of the gear, although they do have a decent amount of gear now from the original series of movies. Still got a good selection of lightsabers. Not very busy. And of course there's Doc. He's always working hard.
Because when I came in, she was over there too.
And a lot less crowded than what I'm used to. Usually when I come in here, it's pretty packed, and now it's almost a ghost town. And again, notice people's hands, especially the ones leaving. All right, the next location is Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, and this is where you'll be able to find Han, Leia, and probably Chewie when they start appearing in April. They're also going to be doing in May a reskin that for the ride itself that is going to include Mandalorian and Grogu, and I imagine they'll reskin it eventually to add something for Han Solo and Chewie, going back to the OG. And this is Olga's Cantina, and please note the relatively short line. The lines used to be twice to 3 times as long. It's kind of been dying out slowly. People are less interested in going here, mostly because the drinks are pre-mixed, and a lot of times you're going to get a watered-down drink. I think Han, Chewie, and Luke and Leia will be wandering around here too. So definitely keep an eye out for them starting in April. Alright, this is the milk stand. Honestly, this is a little bit busier than usual. I've come in here many a times and found nobody in line waiting for this. I tried both of the milks when it first came out. I didn't like either one of them. I think that is the general consensus. Maybe the green is a little bit more popular, but nobody really liked either one of these. Although the cookie was pretty good when they had a chocolate chip cookie here.
Excuse me, traveler. Mind telling us what you're doing with that data pad?
Just filming you guys.
All right, carry on. But ease up on the channel scanning. Attracts attention. Better get back to that sightseeing. Enjoy the day.
Thank you.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Funny, I was just going to mention we didn't see any of the Star Wars characters walking around, and I got walked up on by 2 stormtroopers. So that was pretty good timing. And this is First Order Cargo, which will be changing to Black Spire Surplus in April when they do the change out. So it should be interesting to see. They'll probably put some more new items in here as well. Maybe they'll drum up some business that way. And standing right next to it is the TIE Echelon, which instead of having Kylo Ren, you're now going to have Darth Vader appearing looking for Luke Skywalker. So that should be really interesting. And yes, the TIE Echelon is from the original trilogy. So it is not something from the sequel trilogy. It was in both sets of movies. All right, so that gives you a pretty good idea what's going on here and the changes. The only thing I did not mention is they will start pumping John Williams' score into Galaxy's Edge in April when the OG characters arrive. So that should add some ambiance to the quietness that you usually get here. That's one thing. It's very quiet most of the time. So I'm sure people will appreciate hearing things like Imperial March and the theme to Star Wars. I think initially this is going to get the land a huge boost. I think a lot of people are going to want to see the OG characters. However, until Star Wars is actually fixed and they actually do a complete immersion here, which is kind of change this over to Tatooine, I think that would be the easiest. I think the bump will be minor. I think once the initial euphoria wears off, I think it'll go back to this. And the last thing is, why I mentioned looked at everybody's hands, you hardly saw anyone with merchandise walking around here. And that's a big problem because parks don't survive off of admittance. That is a small amount. The paid admittance is a very small amount. How you survive is by selling merchandise and selling food. So if people aren't buying merchandise and food, the park is not healthy. And a land that isn't doing it is an unhealthy land. All right, I think I'll leave you all there. I have no further thoughts on this. So like my father told me when I was 18 years old, get out.